To work or not to work? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the bad grades received after a late assignment, or to take arms against my laziness, and by opposing it, finish my final project for college English. To go to school no more.
Charlie.
What?
Wake up, Charlie.
Who are you?
This is your appetite speaking.
I'm listening.
I want to tell you a little bit about William Shakespeare.
Of history's many literary giants, William Shakespeare remains one of the most mysterious. For all of his notoriety, there is little known about the English playwright. Sources of information on Shakespeare are few and far between and include merely his works, as well as a variety of legal and religious documents that have been recovered from Elizabethan times. These sources do not provide nearly the amount of information needed to piece together this man's life. For this reason, the accuracy of these facts is relatively unknown. William Shakespeare was born in Stratford-upon-Avon on April 23, 1564. His father, John Shakespeare, was a glover and a leather merchant. He was also the town bailiff. It is believed that Shakespeare's father was illiterate. His mother, Mary Shakespeare, was an heiress to the wealthy Arden family. William was the third of 8 children. However, 3 of his siblings died during birth. John Shakespeare became fairly successful as a merchant and later an alderman and a bailiff. Unfortunately, the family's financial situation declined during Shakespeare's childhood. What is known about Shakespeare's childhood is merely speculation, but it is believed that he attended a free grammar school in Stratford. It is not known how long he attended this school, but the caliber of his works suggests a solid education. Contrary to what his works may have us believe, Shakespeare never went on to receive a college education. Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway, a woman 8 years his senior, in 1582. Hathaway was already 3 months pregnant at the time. They had their first child, Susanna, on May 26, 1583. Their second and third children, Hamlet and Judith, were twins born in 1585. Hamlet died in 1596. Many people believe that this inspired Shakespeare to write Hamlet. Hamlet was written and first performed around the year 1600. Shakespeare was a member of the King's Men acting troupe and most likely performed the play for King James I. The first known publication was in 1623 in Shakespeare's famous First Folio. However, it was probably published earlier in quarto editions. William Shakespeare's major physical contribution was the Globe Theatre, which was built in July of 1599. It later suffered from fire damage in 1613. Shakespeare died on April 23, 1616, on his 52nd birthday. He was buried in the Holy Trinity Church. The scene I will be performing is Act 1, Scene 5, and involves the young Prince Hamlet talking to the ghost of his late father. This scene takes place near the beginning of the play, yet there are a few scenes leading up to it. First of all, Hamlet, the King of Denmark, and Prince Hamlet's father, dies, and his funeral is held. No more than 2 months later, Hamlet's mother marries his uncle Claudius. His girlfriend, Ophelia, under advice from her father, has refused to see Hamlet anymore. All of this has Hamlet very stressed out, and when Horatio tells him that he's seen Hamlet's father's ghost, he isn't sure what to think exactly. He waits with the soldiers on the roof of Castle Elsinore, and once again the ghost appears. It beckons for Hamlet, and he follows it. That is where our scene begins.
Where wilt thou lead me? Speak, I'll go no further. Mark me. I will. My hour is almost come when I, to tormenting and sulphurous flames, must render up myself. Alas, poor ghost! Pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold. Speak, I am bound to hear. So art thou to revenge when thou shalt hear. What? I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain time to walk the night, and for the day confined to fast and fires, till the foul crimes of my days of nature have been burnt and purged away, List, list, oh list, if thou didst ever thy father love. O God, revenge is foul and most unnatural murder. Murder! Murder most foul, as in the best it is, but this most foul, strange, and unnatural. Haste me to know it, that I, with wings as swift as meditation or the thoughts of love, may sweep to my revenge. I find thee apt, and duller shouldst thou be than the fat weed that roots itself in ease on Lethe wharf. Wouldst thou not stir in this? Now, Hamlet, here, 'tis given out, that sleeping in my orchard a serpent stung me, so the whole ear of Denmark is forged process of my death. Rankly abused, but know, thou noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears his crown. Oh, my prophetic soul, my uncle! I, that incestuous, that adulterous beast, won to his shameful lust, the will of my most seeming virtuous queen. O Hamlet, what a falling off there was, but soft. Methinks I scent the morning air. Brief let me be, sleeping within my orchard, my custom always of the afternoon. Upon my secure hour thy uncle stole, with juice of cursed Hebenon in a vial, and in the porches of my ears did pour the leprous distilment, whose effect holds such an enmity with blood of man, that swift as quicksilver it courses through the natural gates and alleys of the body, and with its sudden vigor doth posset and curd like eager droppings into milk. The thin and wholesome blood so did mine, and a most instant tenor barked about, most Lazar-like, with vile and loathsome crust, all my smooth body. Let not the royal bed of Denmark be a couch for luxury and damned incest. Adieu, adieu, Hamlet. Remember me.
Hamlet promises his father's ghost that he will avenge his death and kill his uncle Claudius. This scene is a turning point in the play and sets Hamlet off on a track towards destruction. He also begins to act a little crazy, or is it merely part of his plan? Hamlet devises a plan to expose Claudius because at this point he is not sure whether the ghost is telling the truth or trying to lead him astray. He plans to put on a play titled The Murder of Gonzago. However, he alters the plot to resemble the way in which King Hamlet was murdered by Claudius. He puts on the play and gauges Claudius and his mother Gertrude's reactions. Claudius acts very strangely and demands that the play be cut short, indicating his part in the murder. Gertrude, on the other hand, merely thinks the play is peculiar. Now that Hamlet has exposed Claudius, he must kill him. He finds Claudius praying, however, and refuses to kill him in that position. When talking to his mother in her room, he hears someone lurking behind a curtain and immediately stabs at him, believing it to be Claudius. It is not Claudius, but rather Polonius. After this incident, Claudius sends Hamlet to England, where he will be executed without his knowledge. But before Claudius can send the instructions to England, Hamlet switches the letters and arranges it so the two men escorting him are to be killed instead. Meanwhile, Fortinbras, the Prince of Norway, is leading his army across Europe in hopes of conquering new land. Hamlet returns to Elsinore to find Ophelia has drowned. Ophelia's brother Laertes is very upset about his father's and sister's deaths, and plots with Claudius against Hamlet. They plan to have a fencing match, and Laertes' rapier is to be poisoned. In case this plan does not work, Claudius also drops a poisoned pearl into Hamlet's drink. In a great mix-up, Hamlet gets stabbed, then Laertes gets stabbed with his own rapier, Gertrude drinks from the poisoned goblet, and Claudius gets stabbed and poisoned. After everyone has died, Horatio is left to explain the events to Fortinbras and his men. In an unlikely turn of events, Fortinbras becomes the new king of Denmark. Shakespeare's Hamlet has a number of different themes. One major theme that carries the entire plot of the play is that of revenge. Revenge is what drives Hamlet throughout the play, and eventually leads to his own demise. Another theme that occurs throughout the play is men of action versus men of inaction. Hamlet and Fortinbras contrast each other perfectly, as Fortinbras acts before he thinks, and Hamlet does the exact opposite. The play also includes such controversial issues as ghosts and the afterlife, which would have been taboo during the Elizabethan era. Hamlet is without a doubt my favorite Shakespearean play. It has it all: action, romance, plot twists, tragedy, and even a little comedy. The other plays that I've read, Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth, and Julius Caesar, are all wonderful plays, but I think Hamlet has the edge on all three. I believe the story of Hamlet really pulls you in and you get to know the characters. Hamlet is also regarded very highly by critics, and is often considered one of Shakespeare's greatest tragedies. John Peter from the Sunday Times wrote that Hamlet was thrilling and moving and majestical, a classical tragedy and a modern whodunit, a philosophical tournament, a psychological mystery, and a cunning and purposeful drama for helpless self-destruction. Lizzie Loveridge of the London Review wrote, "Hamlet is not only my favorite Shakespeare play, but probably my favorite play." So there you have it. Hamlet is a great play, and I recommend it to anyone who's looking for a refined piece of literature.
Now where was I?